In southern China, scientists have discovered ancient forests with animals and plants they thought were extinct in several sinkholes hidden deep in the mountains.
Imagine a huge sinkhole, so big it swallows whole trees and towers over houses, suddenly drained by a team of engineers in China.
A Chinese-British team of cavers have found a giant cave fall in a sinkhole in southern China, which they think could be the world's biggest.
What they found at the bottom of this sinkhole shocked the world. Under the water and mud lay a secret landscape, untouched by people, almost like a lost world frozen in time. Strange plants, old trees, and rock formations spread across the pit. Scientists and viewers were amazed. This was not just a sinkhole, it was a natural wonder hidden for years. What exactly did they find in this hidden pit? Join us in this video as we discuss the details. The stunning discovery at the bottom of the giant sinkhole in China. It all started peacefully in early 2022 when a small group of local engineers went out to do a normal land check in Leia County, Guangxi, China. They were gathering soil samples, checking maps, and looking for any structural flaws in the soil. It was meant to be a normal day, the same kind of work they had done 100 times before. However, they noticed something on their scanners that day. They found an odd, dark, empty well below the surface when checking the readings. They first believed there might be an error in their radar or a tool error. However, the emptiness continued when they did the scan once more. It seemed to be a big, hollow area hidden under the earth. According to the measurements, it was the largest and deepest hole or cave ever found in the area. The team was shocked by what they saw when they arrived at the site. The close-by hills looked less important due to the big pit that the earth had opened up into. The pit was around 200 meters deep, 150 meters broad, and 306 meters long. To imagine that better, think of a 60-story building being lowered straight into the ground, and it would still not touch the bottom. The team tried sending down drones with bright floodlights to see what was inside. But strangely, every time the drones reached a certain depth, the signal was lost. Their lights faded into a thick, white mist, and their cameras stopped transmitting. As though it didn't want to be seen, the blackness covered everything. The engineers still needed more information. To remove the rainwater that had gathered at the bottom, they built pumps. Their instruments started to pick up on something strange, as the water gradually vanished with oxygen levels far below. This shocked them. Usually, underground air becomes stale and thin, but here it was fresh. Something down there was producing oxygen, which meant that life was somehow thriving in the darkness. Scientists from across China soon joined the project. Experts from the China Geological Survey, environmental researchers, and even biologists came together to study the site. They brought scanners, ropes, safety gear, and sensors. Everyone wanted to know what was hidden inside that mysterious pit. After weeks of preparation, they made the decision to descend. The mission was dangerous. It was a dark, deep pit that might have been shaky. However, they were forced to find what was below. One morning, the drop started early. Standing at the top, the first team, a mix of scientists and cave explorers, checked their ropes one more time. Mist rose from the hole like smoke from a big chimney, and the sun had just started to rise. They started lowering themselves one by one. The world above them vanished as they went down. The sunlight faded, the temperature dropped, and the humidity increased. Strangely, their voices bounced off unseen walls. Somewhere deep below, there was the sound of water dripping. They were shocked to find shiny mineral veins flowing through the stone walls as their headlamps struck them. These lines of white and silver showed how water had created this area over thousands of years. They carefully went down, keeping an eye out for any loose pebbles. Their boots didn't touch solid ground for hours. However, they froze in shock when they turned around and raised their lights. A secret woodland, cut off from the outside world, stood in front of them. The deep, black earth that covered the sinkhole's floor was wet and smelled like moss and plants. The branches of the trees, some of which rose to a height of 40 meters, touched the dim sunlight that came through the gap far above. The ground was covered with vines, ferns, and dense undergrowth. Gently swinging in the underground breeze, long ropes of green vines dangled from the cliffs like drapes. It looked like a scene from another era, or even a different planet. What the scientists were seeing was unbelievable. How could a forest like this endure underground? They collected samples of the water, leaves, and soil. They found strange mushrooms, insects, and rare ferns. Some of them may even be new species that have quietly grown for hundreds or even thousands of years in secret. The woodland was described as a living time capsule by one of the scientists. It was guided from noise, sunshine, and pollution, and it had never been touched by human hands. It was a secret world, a world that had somehow continued to grow in total darkness. The team stayed for hours, studying, recording, and taking photographs. Every direction they turned offered something unexpected. It was like walking through the lungs of the earth, a hidden place breathing life from below. When they finally climbed back to the surface, they knew they had made one of the most incredible natural discoveries of the century. What began as a simple survey had turned into the discovery of a hidden forest beneath the earth. If such a vast and living forest could exist hidden deep beneath the earth for so long, then how exactly did nature create such a massive sinkhole in the first place? Stay tuned for more. The science behind the mystery. Scientists from all around China came together after the discovery to learn how this big sinkhole formed. They said that the Guangxi region is known for its karst formations, which are made up of gypsum, dolomite, and limestone. Rainwater and carbon dioxide mixed over long periods of time to create a weak acid. The stone under the surface is slowly dissolved by this acid, creating big caverns and deep tunnels. Karstification is the term for this process, which can take hundreds or even millions of years. When these underground caves grow too large, the roof eventually becomes weak and collapses, creating a sinkhole, or what locals call a tian, which means heavenly pit. Guangxi already had several giant sinkholes, but none quite like this one. The smooth walls, thriving environment, and flowing groundwater made this new pit in Lea County stand out. After checking the sinkhole, scientists found that it was a part of a bigger underwater system rather than just a hole. They found a system of tunnels and caverns that linked to it using 3D laser scanners. Water continued to flow through the gaps, making the plants below grow better and keeping the freshness of the air. The right condition has been produced by the air, light, and moisture. This made it possible for plants to grow well without outside forces. In addition to flora, tiny animals, insects, and fungus that grew in the low light were also kept by the equilibrium of oxygen and humidity. The place was called a living laboratory by experts from the Institute of Karst Geology. It looked like a natural test, showing the peaceful coexistence of life, geology, and time. The group carried out research on the water, soil, and air, and gathered more samples. They found out that the earth was very fertile and full of minerals that had been slowly carried down from the nearby hills. Regardless of the season above, the soil's temperature and moisture content remained the same. To the scientists, this meant one thing. The sinkhole had existed in its current form for hundreds, possibly thousands of years. It was old enough to have built its own stable ecosystem and may have been slowly growing all this time without anyone ever knowing. When experts finally arrived to study it up close, what shocking twist were they about to uncover next? Keep watching to find out. The secrets and the warnings. The locals had always called the sinkhole Heaven's Mouth. It was a name passed down for generations. Some old villagers said birds would vanish when they flew across it. Others described cold breezes rising from below with an almost living sound. A lot of the people had believed that they were just stories passed down around evening fires. However, scientists found out that the myths might have added more truth than anyone had thought when they looked down into that big, dark opening. The air was wet, clean, and fresh. It was rainy, but not uncomfortable, chilled but not cold. Throughout the day, the mist gave the feeling of early dawn, and the temperature stayed the same. The plants that grew everywhere were fed by flows of clean water, that fell between the rocks. It was a living, well-balanced place. The experts quickly came to understand how rare the sinkhole was. The Chinese government later brought in one of the country's top karst experts, Zhang Yuanhai, to conduct a deeper study. Zhang had spent most of his career studying how sinkholes formed and evolved. When he arrived in Lea County, he was immediately struck by the sheer size and structure of the sinkhole. Using laser mapping cameras and airflow sensors, Zhang explored the site's edges and walls. He discovered 3 large cave entrances inside the pit, all shaped by ancient water flow. Cool air still moved through them, showing they were connected to even deeper underground systems that no one had yet explored. According to Zhang's research, the sinkhole was still alive and working as a part of a living geological system that was slowly changing over time. However, he got some troubling news a few weeks later. Unauthorized digging was reportedly taking place close to the sinkhole. He found big machines placed carelessly near the rim when he came back to the location. Workers were clearing land, standing poles, and digging into the nearby rock. The engine's sound bounced around the valley and into the sinkhole. Zhang stopped the work right away. He warned that tiny disturbance could lead to serious harm. Vibrations might cause the delicate tunnels supporting the ecology below to collapse, release rocks, or shatter the limestone walls. The hidden woodland might be destroyed if that happens. Soon after, environmentalists joined him in asking the protection of the area. Because of its rare geological features and the fact that it was one of the planet's few untouched places, they wanted it kept as a national conservation site. One of the most amazing natural discoveries in history is still the sinkhole in Lea County. It serves as a reminder that, despite the upgrade in technology and satellites, the Earth still keeps mysteries, with deep, living worlds living under our feet. If one big sinkhole in China could hide a whole ancient forest, what other secret worlds might be waiting to be opened in the deepest corners of our planet? Let's find out. Hidden worlds. Beneath the Earth, the global mystery of sinkholes. After the amazing finding of the big sinkhole in Guangxi, China, a lot of experts started drawing links between it and other strange places worldwide. They quickly found that there were other sinkholes with dark secrets. Similar big holes, each carrying a world of its own, have formed in a number of different nations. While some opened out suddenly and shocked nearby towns, others started slowly over thousands of years. When taken as a whole, they show how our world is still changing under our feet in quiet and big ways. In 2021, a well-known instance happened in Mexico, close to the town of Santa Maria Zacatepec. It began as a tiny hole that was only 5 meters across. It went on to expand despite people's thoughts that it wouldn't. In a few days, the sinkhole grew to be 125 meters wide, covering parts of close-by homes and farms. Later, scientists said that natural erosion was the cause of this. Soft layers of soil and volcanic ash had been slowly removed by water flow until the land above could no longer support its own weight. When it finally gave way, it made clear how soft the Earth can be. Another weird world can be found in Papua New Guinea, far from Mexico. Big sinkholes hidden inside dense jungles have been found by experts deep inside the Nakanai Mountains. These are known as collapsed dolines, and some of them are up to 1,000 meters deep, making them some of the biggest on the planet. They look like big green bowls full with mist and clouds when seen from above. The smell of dirt, water, and moss fills the cold, humid air inside. The most well-known of these is the Nare sinkhole, which measures around 150 meters long, 120 meters wide, and 310 meters deep. Scientists say these deep holes are so large and untouched that they hold their own ecosystems, complete with plants, animals, and running rivers. It feels like a different world amid the bush, inside the sinkholes in Papua New Guinea. Strange insects live in the shadows, and plants grow strangely since sunlight hardly reaches the bottom. Because they are harmful to access and, in some cases, holy to the local people, many parts are yet to be found. The locals think that disturbing the holes could bring bad luck, because they are ways to the afterlife. For ages, these rules have kept the ecosystem safe by covering that part from human harm. Scientists say all these sinkholes share one thing in common. They are formed in karst terrain. In China, about 13% of the land is covered in this kind of karst landscape, especially in the Guangxi region, where more than 30 major sinkholes have been found. The largest of all is the Shaojai Tiankeng in Chongqing, which goes down more than 2,100 feet. The new Guangxi sinkhole is also massive, big enough to fit the Gateway Arch in St. Louis, Missouri, inside it. Many of these pits, according to experts, are connected underground by long rivers and tunnels, forming a big secret network under China's surface. However, these sinkholes have serious cultural and environmental significance that goes beyond their scientific usefulness. Many Chinese villagers still see these trenches to be divine gateway linking heaven and earth. Because they are afraid that upsetting the spirits will bring bad luck, they try not to disturb them. The unspoiled forests inside these sinkholes are like living museums, showing what Earth's nature might have looked like millions of years ago before humans appeared. Similar beliefs exist in Papua New Guinea, where people treat the sinkholes as holy places, meant to be respected and left untouched. Today, scientists agree that these old beliefs have actually helped protect the environment. Studying them could show how plants, animals, and even microorganisms survive in isolation, fitting to darkness and damp over centuries. In Papua New Guinea, local populations are now cooperating with scientists and environmental groups to conserve these regions. To prevent harming the soft ecosystems, they have stopped tourists and exploration. Careless research could wipe out species that are rare to the area, and many sinkholes are harmful to penetrate. Experts warn that these secret worlds could be easily harmed by human meddling, such as mining, pollution, or construction. These findings shows that some of the planet's greatest beauties are hidden much below our feet, rather than high in the mountains or deep in the oceans. Protected by mystery and darkness, the woods that grow inside these deep trenches have been alive for countless years. What incredible marvels can be found further deeper under the biggest caves in the world? If these sinkholes and secret woods can uncover complete extinct ecosystems, let's delve deeper. Exploring the world's largest underground rainforest. Sun Dung Cave in Vietnam is the largest cave known in the world. It stretches for about 9 kilometers and has a huge space of 38.5 million cubic meters. This cave is so big that it has its own climate and environment. Clouds form inside the cave, and there is even an underground river. Deep below the surface, a prehistoric rainforest grows, and over 250 kinds of plants and animals live there. Scientists have also found 7 new animal species that are not found anywhere else. The cave was unknown to the world until explorers fully studied it in 2009. The cave is made of very old limestone that formed 400 to 450 million years ago. Sea animal skeletons and shells sunk to the ocean floor long ago. They were compressed throughout time to create the rock that exists today. Over millions of years, rainwater slowly dissolved the limestone, creating chambers and tunnels. Also, cracks created by earthquakes and ground movements allowed water to enter the cave more deeply and enlarge it. Huge stalactites and stalagmites, some up to 80 meters tall, can be found inside. Rare formations known as phytokarst, which are made of algae and microorganisms mixed with rock, have the ability to move slightly in the way of sunlight. The underground rainforest is one of Sun Dung's most amazing features, where parts of the cave ceiling fell and sunlight could reach the floor. This rainforest developed. Due to the accumulation of bat guano over millions of years, the soil is very fertile and rich. Monkeys, centipedes, snakes, blind fish, bugs, and a lot of other species can be found in the rainforest. Trees grow very tall but thin, reaching 40 to 50 meters high so they can get more sunlight. This underground forest is like a completely new world, a place where life has adapted to survive in unusual conditions. Sun Dung is a hard place to search. Before coming, visitors must travel through smaller caverns and a deep jungle for a lot of hours. Long, sad passageways, quick-moving underground rivers, and parts of water are all found inside. Because it is risky, safety gear and headlamps are needed. According to the explorers, the cave was so big that a big airplane could pass through some of its chambers and a 40-story building could fit inside others. Tetrachoria, or rugosa coral fossils, are among the plenty fossils found in the cave. About 300 million years ago, these creatures died extinct. By checking these fossils, scientists can find more about prehistoric life on Earth and the working of ecosystems. Cave pearls, which grow slowly over hundreds of years around a single grain of sand, are found in some areas of the cave. There are travertine-like steps and rimstone lakes created by mineral-rich water. Sometimes dirt, seeds, and spores are carried into the cave by floods, helping the growth of mushrooms and small plants even in total darkness. Sundong Cave is needed for safekeeping as well as science. All tours are managed by authorized organizations like Oxalis, and individual visitors are not allowed. This is to protect the soft ecosystem as well as the explorers. The cave serves as a natural laboratory where scientists can study geology, vegetation, and animals in an unchanged environment. Its depth, beauty, and serious underground place serve as inspiration as well. Because of how amazing and natural it looks, a lot of explorers connect it to scenes from fantasy films like Jurassic Park. All things put together, Sundong Cave is a natural gem. Millions-year-old fossils, big rock formations, and rare plants and animals can all be found there. Its big chambers shows the power of water and earth throughout time, and its underground rainforest shows how life can survive in harsh environments. This cave serves as a reminder of the many wonders that still stay on our planet and continues to teach scientists and explorers new things. People will learn more about the history of Earth and the hidden worlds under our feet if Sundong is carefully studied and kept. What happens when the earth under our feet just gives way, changing solid earth into a harmful pit without warning? If the world's deepest tunnels can hide thriving forests and rivers, let's learn more. When the earth opens up, the hidden science behind sinkholes. A recent sinkhole disaster in Bangkok shocked many people and reminded the world how unpredictable the ground beneath us can be. The collapse was caused by a burst underground pipe that released high-pressure water, which quickly eroded the soil and created a large empty space below the surface. When the soil could no longer hold the weight above it, the ground suddenly caved in, forming a sinkhole almost 50 meters deep. Experts later confirmed that heavy rainfall in the area had softened the ground, making it even more unstable. Unlike Florida or Texas, Bangkok does not sit on soluble rock such as limestone, meaning this sinkhole was entirely caused by human activity. Sinkholes often form in regions where the bedrock can dissolve in water. Rocks like limestone, gypsum, and dolomite are particularly vulnerable because they are easily eroded by rainwater or leaking pipes. Over time, water seeps through cracks, widening them slowly until a large underground cavity forms. The top layer of soil remains suspended above this hidden void, supported by an arch-shaped structure. This layer can hold for years, even decades, before finally collapsing. What makes sinkholes so dangerous is that they usually give almost no visible warning before they form. There are, however, a few subtle signs that can appear before the ground gives way. One of the most common is when doors or windows suddenly stop closing properly. This can happen because the foundation beneath the house has started to shift slightly. The movement may be only a few millimeters, far too small for people to notice, but enough to disturb the structure. These early changes are easy to overlook, which is why sinkholes often catch people by surprise. Florida, for example, is well known for its frequent sinkholes and is often called Sinkhole Alley. The entire state sits on a thick platform of limestone that has been worn away by acidic rainwater over thousands of years. One of the most famous sinkholes in Florida opened in 1981 in Winter Park, swallowing a house, several cars, and part of a swimming pool in just one day. Another appeared in 2017 in Pasco County, destroying 2 homes and leaving behind a deep crater that took months to stabilize. There are 2 main types of sinkholes: cover collapse and cover subsidence. Cover collapse sinkholes are the most dangerous because they form suddenly. The ground can appear completely normal one moment and then drop away without warning the next. Cover subsidence sinkholes form much more slowly in sandy or loose soil. Instead of collapsing instantly, the surface gradually sinks into the void below, forming a shallow bowl shape. These are still troubling, but they pose less of a threat since they are easier to find before serious harm is done. Sinkholes are mostly caused by weather and human activity. Erosion can be caused by heavy rainfall because it increases soil weight and washes away supporting sediments. Droughts can also result in collapses because a cavern's roof loses its buoyant support and becomes weaker when the subsurface water table drops. The same thing might happen when a lot of groundwater is pumped for building or agricultural. Man-made sinkholes can also result from oil and gas drilling, as was the case in Texas. Fluids injected into the earth have the ability to check rock layers or dissolve salt beds, finally leading to the collapse of the surface. Engineers always use a device known as ground-penetrating radar, GPR, to find sinkholes before they collapse. This apparatus records the way high-frequency waves bounce back after being sent underground. On the scan, an empty spot shows up as a brilliant U-shaped pattern. Larger gaps always need to be removed, but smaller ones can be fortified using construction methods or filled with gravel. Before building big structures, this type of testing is now common in Texas and other sinkhole-prone areas. In order to fill in gaps and strengthen the soil, engineers also use a method known as grouting, which involves injecting thick material into the ground. Sinkholes serve as reminders of the true weak state of the earth under us. They show how readily nature or human activity may upset the equilibrium between soil, rock, and water. What surprises and danger might be hiding deep under the earth if the surface can hide so much strength and mystery? Keep watching to find out. Exploring the world's deepest sinkholes and karst landscapes. One of the most incredible natural holes ever found is the Shaojai Tiankeng in China, which is the deepest sinkhole in the world. It has a depth of roughly 660 meters, which is enough to carry many statues of liberty put on top of one another. This big pit is so deep and wide that it creates its own small world. There are secret caverns at the bottom, waterfalls during the wet season, and even plants and small animals that are similar to this setting. Scientists check it to learn how water changes rocks and how life can adapt to such strange places because of its size and formation. It is very risky to search these big sinkholes. Such deep trenches always link to underway rivers that have the ability to flood quickly. Explorers may find that the cave suddenly fills with water if it rains strongly from a distance, making escape nearly difficult. To add to being unstable, the steep walls carry rocks that could fall at any time. A serious fall could result from a single wrong step on the surface. Because it is totally dark inside, explorers depend on lights and ropes to direct safely. Insects, snakes, and even dangerous fungi that can survive in the wet, dark air are more risks. Reaching these places takes days of hiking or climbing, and if someone gets hurt, getting them out is a slow and risky process. Because of these dangers, only very skilled teams with special training and safety gear ever attempt such trips. Karst landscapes, where these sinkholes form, appear all over the world. Many sinkholes and caverns are hidden by dense woods that cover the limestone hills in warm, humid parts like southern China and parts of Southeast Asia. The white, naked rocks of dry nations like Slovenia and Spain cause odd shapes on their surface. Similar sinkholes, known as cenotes, are filled with crystal-clear blue water in the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico. Old cultures used them for spiritual rites and as water supplies. Many of these places are still important for the local way of life and the environment. Because underway rivers pass through the porous limestone, karst part provide water to millions of people worldwide. These secret worlds are soft, yet lovely. They serve as a reminder of the might of nature and the ease with which these marvels can be lost if they are not kept. Even while sinkholes can be quite dangerous, their presence shows an amazing tale about the strength and intricacy of nature. They show how water carves out underground caves and betters landscapes over thousands or even millions of years, gently but always changing the earth. Sinkholes shows how even solid ground can unexpectedly give way, showing the weak balance between geological processes and the surface we always take for granted. Beyond the danger, they produce amazing ecosystems, protect endangered plant and animal species, and shows the variety of global landscapes. Sinkholes serve as a powerful reminder of the force of nature, its unpredictable nature, and its ability to both destroy and save life. Experts have started to assume that the forest under the pit may hide more than just extinct flora. There is conjecture that it might include strange animal species, maybe even organisms that have formed independently and in total seclusion for thousands of years. Others believe that deep within the forest floor, there could be signs of long-lost civilizations, ancient carvings, tools, or ruins buried beneath layers of untouched soil. With such rich and unspoiled terrain, no one truly knows what secrets might still be waiting to be uncovered in this mysterious hidden world. What do you think about the existence of massive sinkholes? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Thank you for watching this video. We hope you found it interesting. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Click the next video shown on your screen to catch up on your favorite celebrity stories. See you there.